Hello everyone, I'm Myron Smith, Dr. Seuss lover and advocate for equality. The purpose of this video is to inform the public as soon as possible about the fraudulent charities that are launching an attack on Dr. Seuss. You will see me get emotional, but the emotion is real and it's not intended to be a scare tactic. The initial version of my declaration of intent lacked visual evidence. Hopefully, with this new, updated, condensed version, seeing is believing. Anyone who has ever read a Dr. Seuss book understands how valuable his stories are to children. Many of his children's books carried positive messages promoting equality and acceptance. I will be releasing a series of videos that will expose falsehoods currently surrounding Dr. Seuss. These fabrications were created by cleverly disguised charities that are manufacturing fear. We will see that this charity is deceiving its well-intentioned donors. Many people rightfully assume that this was a voluntary act on behalf of Dr. Seuss Enterprises, attempting to create a more inclusive environment for its readers. Most people are not currently aware that Seuss Enterprises was forced to make this decision, pressured to compromise in response to vicious attacks from the Conscious Kid Library, a paid subscription service whose deceptive charity is using innocent children as bait. Another common belief is that only 6 books will be discontinued. This attack on Dr. Seuss's literature is far from over. Many people do not realize that the Conscious Kid Library is condemning Dr. Seuss's entire catalog. You may be shocked to discover that the organization has even targeted some of Dr. Seuss's non-human characters, including the Cat in the Hat. A falsified and exaggerated report from the Conscious Kids Library accuses the iconic character of promoting anti-blackness to children. For those who would like to read this viciously fabricated propaganda, the title is The Cat is Out of the Bag: Orientalism, Anti-Blackness, and White Supremacy in Dr. Seuss's Children's Books. You will not find the report on the Conscious Kids Library official website, but it was published in a journal from St. Catherine University in Minnesota. After reading the report, I would like to invite you to ask yourself the following questions. Do you believe they have judged the Cat in the Hat fairly? Do you want to see a stigma placed on the Cat in the Hat? And furthermore, do you believe black children would perceive racism in this book as the report indicates? If you think this organization is no big deal, think again. The Conscious Kid Library pressured the National Education Association to disassociate with Dr. Seuss. They have removed Dr. Seuss's association from Read Across America. They now have over 170,000 followers on Facebook and over 28,000 followers on Twitter, all of them unintentionally giving support to a morally bankrupt institution. The organization also has support from another immensely successful scam operation that earns millions of dollars annually, Learning for Justice. Learning for Justice is suggesting a lesson plan that teaches third-grade students how Dr. Seuss books are a reinforcement of white supremacy. The Conscious Kid Library keeps their hands clean by partnering with Learning for Justice to do their dirty work. If you or your friends are followers of either of these fraudulent charities, I urge you to educate their followers. If we can expose these groups, we can take power away from these villains and save Dr. Seuss's legacy and the future of available literature before it's too late. It is my belief that the partnership of the Conscious Kid Library and Learning for Justice should be in violation of Federal Trade Commission laws. At the very least, they should be registered as hate groups. Alarmingly, the report from the Conscious Kid Library even explicitly targets books that teach acceptance. The Sneetches and Horton Hears a Who, claiming that these two books reinforce white supremacy. Dr. Seuss empowers young readers of all skin colors. The Conscious Kid Library, along with Learning for Justice, are on a mission to destroy Dr. Seuss and the education of your children. If both of these groups are not exposed as quickly as possible, they will continue to have a tremendous impact. The broad terms described in this report would provide these corporations and similar groups the ability to coerce any publisher they wish to meet their demands, a profound threat to everyone's freedom of speech and freedom to educate ourselves. This threat could also extend to publishing houses, libraries, and booksellers, interfering with their ability to provide these materials. We will examine 10 myths, allegations, and assumptions in regards to Dr. Seuss to provide further enlightenment for the adult nation to have a thoughtful conversation together, which is what leads me to myth number 1. The propaganda says the only people who are currently defending Dr. Seuss are Republican conservatives. While that may appear to be true, there are many people who have admiration for Dr. Seuss with a variety of political views. Assumptions that all complainers of censorship are Republican simply dismiss major issues. We need to stop associating supporters of Dr. Seuss with conservatives. Making associations like this take validity away from people who have concerns of freedom of speech, which is in everyone's best interest. Personally, I have never publicly advocated for the election of any political candidate, nor do I ever intend to. This matter is of utmost importance to everyone, regardless of political background. The propaganda spread by the Conscious Kid Library and Learning for Justice wants to convince you that white people celebrate Seuss because they are racist. I celebrate Dr. Seuss because he teaches children and adults to be courageous, act intelligently, and be accepting of everyone, regardless of gender, race, or personal beliefs. Dr. Seuss was an advocate for change. However, these deceptive charities have manipulated readers to believe that the only people complaining about censorship of his work are afraid of change. A cheap scare tactic. This explains why there has been such a witch hunt in the media, and the media companies are caving in to self-censorship of images that no one visibly called for the removal of. What makes this particularly devious is they are manipulating people who want to be active in creating positive change. These two organizations, and no doubt numerous others, are using cancel culture as a device to gain momentum, with tactics similar to other racist, homophobic, and transphobic hate groups like the American Family Association and the Fraternal Order of Police. Removing the availability of books, music, and film is never a form of positive change. A person who shares posts from the organization's social media outlets are under the false impression that they are supporting advocates for racial equality, but they are unknowingly adding fuel to a vicious hate machine. If you've never read the Sneetches, I suggest that you read this beautiful story of acceptance before it becomes prohibited by law. People, much like Sneetches, have a tendency to conform. We often do not question propaganda when it's tailored to align with our ideals. Propaganda is also not so easy to spot. We must use critical thinking as we move forward. After reading the Sneetches, compare the description that is provided by the Conscious Kid Library. The evidence speaks for itself. Groups of this exact caliber seem to be a new phenomenon. Do not be fooled. They do not have anyone's best interest in mind. Exposure of Conscious Kid Library and Learning for Justice could offer protection for book publishers, which is in the best interest of the American people and the rest of the world. It is important to talk about this issue like adults so we can stop this disease before it infects your children. As people have fought for years to have racial equality, these groups, and no doubt countless others, are in the business of keeping hate alive and well. Putting an end to these pressure groups that are dividing America could be a huge victory to racism. I will prove that these organizations do not want racial equality. These organizations are raking in massive donations with no regard for your children or the betterment of humankind. They have stated that children develop racism as early as 3 months old, insisting that anti-racism must be taught from birth. The propaganda magazine Teaching Tolerance comes from Learning for Justice, and it constantly puts a heavy emphasis on creating conflicts between black and white children. I encourage people of all colors to see for yourself. Businesses and media outlets are powerless to take a stand because they will all be accused of white supremacy. Children's book companies are particularly in danger. This extortion is deplorable beyond description. Why do they do this? Because hate pays, either through fear or through lack of knowledge. No one that I'm aware of has reported this. You are now equipped with knowledge that most people are completely unaware of. For those who need further proof, I have over 30 typed pages of fine print ready to go that I have drafted myself, and I will not stop until Dr. Seuss Enterprises is free from the pressure of these extortion groups. I will share the information as quickly as possible, but in addition, I'm inviting everyone to investigate these frauds to the best of their ability. We must make additional information about these organizations available and warn potential donors. We need to join together to stop this poison attack of racism and cancel culture. There are malicious extortion groups that must be held responsible for their crimes. Let me compose myself, everyone. I invite you to join the Teach the Sneetch movement. That's right. Mayor McBean says you can't teach a Sneetch, but I believe we can. We shall use the term Sneetch to indicate everyone who is in the dark about this major concern. We must be patient with those who doubt our evidence. We must respect each other's feelings while having this discussion. We must be patient with the Sneetches. The goal of this operation is to give protection to publishers, to preserve Dr. Seuss's legacy, and to expose these fraudulent charities. I will be posting another video as soon as possible, but right now the clock is ticking, as this link will likely be hidden in internet searches. My video may become banned, and I could become blocked from social media. We must all do everything that we can to spread this message. First and foremost, we need to give guidance and support to libraries who were impacted with the sudden attack on Dr. Seuss. Many of them are under pressure, and they may still be evaluating what should be done with their books. Here are some of the things we can do for now. It is imperative that we all educate each other about this matter. Write essays, make videos, write letters, but please do so responsibly. I also encourage viewers with available resources to conduct your own research on the Conscious Kid Library and Learning for Justice so we can all cooperate together to make additional observations to implicate these two entities so they will be held responsible for their crimes. We must all be brave together, as many people will be afraid to speak out. Although I will remain relentless, I do not wish to be in the spotlight for this. I may even get flagged by the organization as a white supremacist. But I will go on record now to say that I love humanity. Sometimes it can be easy to lose hope, but I have faith that love can conquer hate. For once in my life, I'm actually fortunate that my lifetime endeavor as an undiscovered artist has not brought me national acclaim, as this has given me the freedom to speak out against this dire situation without the fear of financial repercussions. I may become banned from YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter, so keep a watchful eye on my various social media outlets. For now, you can follow the movement with the hashtag #TeachTheSneetch. If this is going to work, everyone will need to stand together through this. Maybe Dr. Seuss is the artist who can perhaps unite this weary nation. Now that the curtain is open, we need to open up our eyes and see what is happening in front of us. Please keep an eye out for my next video. We will uncover more of these distortions together, and hopefully, other researchers will also come forth with additional information. We can ask each other questions. You can ask me questions. But most importantly, question everything you read. We must take a stand against this injustice to Dr. Seuss. We must not allow his cherished library to become lost artworks.